Hi, everyone. For those that may know me only from email and not by my face, I'm Mark Middleton, the Instrumental Education Director for the Indiana State School Music Association. If you're viewing this video, it probably means that you're getting prepared to adjudicate one of our district solo and ensemble events on either January 29th or February 5th. Let me say first how excited we are to once again be able to return to live performance evaluation events this year. It is so important for our organization, as a part of our mission statement, to be able to provide these assessment opportunities for the directors and the students of our member schools throughout the state. And we could not accomplish this mission without the assistance and contributions from hundreds of great music educators like you, who are so willing to share their time and talents in the daunting task of adjudicating these events. And this task presumes to be even more difficult this year. So on behalf of our entire organization, I thank you and I appreciate your willingness to serve. As you can imagine, the ongoing COVID-19 saga continues to have a profound effect on all facets of life, not the least of which are the challenges faced in our schools and consequently in school music programs. We continue to hear horror stories all the time of difficult situations all across the state, including lost rehearsal time, dozens of students out day to day with sickness or quarantine, the challenges of virtual and hybrid instruction, and teachers losing instructional time because they're helping cover other classes in the school. All of these things have added to the already challenging task of preparing students for a performance or festival when you never know from day to day how many students will be in your class or your ensemble. In many ways, things are even worse than they were at this time last year. With all of this in mind, the ISMA directors and the executive committee have tried to come up with some ways to keep all of our winter and spring events live and in person, while tempering the rules and expectations to fit the burdening challenges that directors and students are facing. The executive committee has voted to make the following adjustments to existing rules and procedures for the upcoming solo and ensemble events. Number one, at district solo and ensemble, the rule stating that ensembles with missing parts will be adjudicated for comment only has been removed. So this will allow an ensemble to earn a rating while missing a student or students due to COVID-19 restrictions. Students unable to perform in a Group 1 ensemble that earns a gold rating at district will be permitted to perform then at state. Number 2, Group 1 instrumental ensembles that perform a selection from their required list that has multiple movements in the requirement will only be required to perform one movement of that piece. This does not apply to solo events. Number 3, the required elements for percussion solo events, like scales and arpeggios, rudiments, drum set patterns, will be lowered from 3 to 2. These remain students' choice for groups 5 and 4 and judges' choice for groups 3, 2, and 1. Memorization of these elements will not be required regardless of the group level entered. 4. As per the International Aerosol Study that was supported by ISMA, the wearing of masks will be highly recommended and will be required if mandated by the local host school and public health officials. And by the way, you are not expected to be the mask police in your room. You have too many other important tasks that need your focus and attention. If a situation arises, have the door monitor or the site host handle it. Number 5, judges' assistants will not be used for this event. Judges will need to coordinate more closely with your door monitor regarding the receipt and return of music and the distribution of score sheets and medal cards after each performance. Hosts at each site will have determined the maximum number of spectators that can be safely in each performance room at any time. If needed, this will be limited to the immediate family and directors of the performers. Door monitors can assist with this guideline as well. And finally, the morning, afternoon, and lunch breaks have been extended to allow the room to be cleared for air exchange and circulation. These breaks must be followed, so judges don't work through these breaks as many of you have done in the past. Staying on schedule will be paramount in making this work. Here are some suggestions on how to help this happen. Limit verbal interactions to a simple friendly greeting at the beginning and a simple thanks for performing at the end. Do not attempt to give private lessons verbally, as students rarely remember anything they heard anyway because they're trying desperately to get out of the room because they're relieved to be finished. Give good commentary on the sheet and make sure you're putting at least one comment in each category, especially if a deduction happens in that category. To make this happen and to stay on schedule, you'll need to start writing during the performance. Don't wait until they're finished playing before you start writing your comments, or you'll get behind very quickly. And work with your door monitor to keep events coming into your room consistently, especially if there are issues with accompanists or student conflicts or something like that. We don't want a lot of dead time in there. So work with your door monitor, keep the next event coming. It's our hope that these adjustments will allow more student participation, especially for those ensembles who lose members to quarantine or illness the week or a day or two before the event. Most of the normal rules and regulations and expectations will be covered and discussed by the head judge in the judges briefing on Saturday morning prior to the start of the event. The real purpose for this video that I'm sending you is to provide some guidelines and some suggestions on how to approach the judging assignment based on the current climate and the reality that our students and teachers are currently facing. And many of you that are out there in the trenches on a daily basis right now already have a pretty good idea of what I'm going to talk about. This is not an attempt to tell you how to judge. It's merely a way of sharing some thoughts and information that might help approach things from a realistic perspective while still providing an educational and successful experience for everyone involved. All things considered, student performance levels may not be where they normally would be for this event in most cases. There will still be some outstanding students that have prepared well and have had the benefit of director and private instruction. This will not be the case in most instances, so it's very important to adjust your tolerances and expectations a bit, especially at the group 5 and 4 levels. Remember that those students enrolled in those group levels are first and second year performers. And remembering what things have been like the last 2 years, those students may not be as advanced as they might normally have been a few years ago. Be acutely aware of the group level you're judging and know that determining your tolerance and expectation level will be different for, say, a group 4 event than it would be for a group 1 event. This is normally the case, but it's true even more so now. As always, let your comments guide the score that you choose to assign in each category. Use the rubric at the top of the sheet with the understanding that once again some thoughtful care should go into determining the numbers you assign in each category. Temper your tolerances with a healthy dose of appreciation and understanding for what the students went through just to get to this point. Quite simply put, think very hard before you give a score or rating below a gold or silver for this event, especially in groups 5 and 4. Bronze ratings should be reserved for very subpar performances that show a total lack of preparation. And use the participation rating only in the case of a rule violation that might call for it. These are not thoughts that I would normally give and use for this event, but these are not normal times, and we will all need to adjust our approach to fit the situation. Judging solo and ensemble, especially for the first time, is a tough job. The time goes by fast and can get away from you really fast. It's often a challenge to come up with positive feedback for those performances that are, shall we say, less than stellar. And if you do it right, your hand and arm are going to be dead tired by the end of the day. All of these things have been compounded even more this year by the specter of COVID-19. It takes special people to judge this event, and that's why I ask you to do it. I hope you'll enjoy and appreciate the fact that so many students were able to go ahead and perform for you after all they've been through in the last 24 months. You are there to share your knowledge, your expertise, and your love for music, and at the same time, recognize the students for their efforts and help them take a feeling of accomplishment and success from their participation in the event. And as corny as it may sound, they're a success just getting to this point. Thanks for taking the time to listen to my thoughts, and best wishes for a great day on Saturday. Thanks and good luck.